In this video, I'm sharing about a recent epiphany that I had around manifesting that is helping previously challenging situations in manifestation for me, such as money, to manifest a lot easier. And so I'm going to share what that insight was and then specifically how I applied it to a challenging money situation to quickly improve it. But first, if you're new here, welcome. My name is Adrianne. I'm a manifesting coach and intuitive guide, and on my channel, we talk about getting into the flow and manifesting with ease. So if that is something you're interested in, I invite you to click the subscribe button and turn on notifications so that you'll be the first to know when I publish new videos. So like I mentioned just a moment ago, this new manifesting insight that I've had recently has been especially helpful in the area of money manifesting. So let me just give you a quick background, because I mentioned that money has been one of the more challenging areas for me in manifestation. And basically that's because it's been a bit of like an up and down kind of roller coaster like experience for me. Like I've had really good highs and positive manifestations with regard to money, like purchasing my dream home on the water in downtown Portland and selling thousands of dollars of coaching services and things like that in my business in short amounts of time. And then I've also had like really the lows, the more challenging experiences, like at times feeling really blocked and stuck in selling services and products in my business, and having times where I didn't know where the money was going to come from to pay my bills and things like that. And so, yeah, it's been this really up and down experience. And even just recently, there's been highs of getting to go on my dream vacation to Maui for my birthday that I just posted a vlog about recently. And then the low was I got this job recently in architecture that was like my full-time, what I thought was my dream job, or was a really good fit for me and that I enjoyed in a lot of ways, but that had trouble paying me after like my first paycheck. They had trouble paying me after that, which was a pretty challenging experience. And so in this video, I want to share how I apply a new insight that I had about manifesting to shift that situation and kind of turn around my financial situation, and how I'm really hopeful and feel like this insight is actually going to be really huge for me in helping to kind of smooth out the roller coaster that I've experienced in the past, at least with this topic of money manifesting. Basically, the insight that I had that's been really powerful for me was that I need to really own and acknowledge some of my more negative feelings about some of the challenging topics for me. And so specifically when it came to money, I had to own and let myself actually feel what some of my negative feelings were. And so the reason why this is important, or why this is like an insight, is because if we don't allow ourselves to really feel and own and recognize what our vibration actually is about a topic, if we do kind of as I was doing, of kind of pretending that we feel better than we actually do, or like trying to say affirmations or do visualizations to envision a positive outcome or a positive reality, but we're not really truly feeling it. We're truly still having these negative feelings that we're not recognizing or acknowledging to ourselves, then we can't actually shift our vibration into that higher state until we first kind of recognize and feel what that vibration is, or at least it's really challenging to do so. Because, for example, if a situation is manifesting in some really challenging ways, that's a reflection of our vibration. That's the universe just mirroring back to us what our vibration is. And so like for me, if I'm having some of these really challenging money manifestations, like my job not paying me money at all, then that's like a reflection of some thoughts that I'm having that I'm not fully recognizing myself. And like there's a big difference vibrationally between some really challenging or some really negative thoughts and like the higher vibration, really positive thoughts that we would say in an affirmation. And that vibrational gap is often too big to just make the leap right up there. It's like you have to first kind of recognize and acknowledge where you're feeling and more stair step your way up what Abraham calls the vibrational scale in order to actually authentically vibrate and feel those higher vibrations that we want to be manifesting more off of. And so I'll explain more about that process in a minute, but that was just like the key insight for me, was actually owning and looking at and really letting myself feel some of the shame and some of like the overwhelmment or like disappointment that I felt about my money situation. I know that's nothing that's like pleasant to think about or talk about, like feeling these really negative emotions, but for me it was like just admitting some of these feelings that I had, like that was the first step in actually being able to shift the vibration. And I was able to do it pretty quickly. So I'm going to talk more about how I did that in just a moment. But first I want to talk a little bit about why this kind of approach that I've been using lately can make manifesting easier. And basically it's because we are supposed to be manifesting what we want. Like, our desires are supposed to unfold for us. And as Abraham says and other manifesting teachers, it's like the only thing that stands in the way of our dreams coming true and our desires unfolding is just our resistance to it. It's like, it's here for us, it's available. We have a vortex, as Abraham talks about, where what we want is surrounding us always. The potential to create it is always around us, but it's our resistance, you could call it negative thoughts or patterns of belief, negative beliefs, that kind of thing. It's just the resistance. So if we just find out how to release the resistance, it's not so much about going out and saying a bunch of affirmations or like taking a lot of action or trying to like make something happen. It's just about like soothing and relaxing and releasing the walls that we've put up internally that are blocking what naturally wants to happen for us to unfold. And so that's really what this insight is about. It's like, if we can more easily and quickly and effectively recognize where our resistance is, and then kind of gently and consciously work to relax it and release it, then we don't have to do daily affirmations at the bathroom mirror or like 30 minutes of creative visualization 3 times a day or whatever like ambitious manifesting routine we might come up with. It can take as little as like, I experience changes really quickly when I do this releasing resistance. It's like, if you really get at the heart of where your resistant patterns are and start to soothe them and soften them, then like I was saying, the manifestations that are just like on the edge of our reality waiting to come in can start to enter. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more specifically about how to do this, how to release resistance, how to manifest more easily through this process. And so basically the place where I started like with money, or where I would recommend to start, is just whenever like some challenging emotions start to come up, or if you think about a topic and you notice that there's like this sense of tension around it, or this sense of negative energy or these negative emotions around it, take that as an opportunity to sit with yourself and try to use journaling or something that helps you identify what are some of the thoughts that you're thinking that are causing those negative feelings, and like, what are you really feeling on the topic? And when you do this, you have to really be willing to be honest with yourself and not try to kind of like think positive or like do the things that we think that we should do to manifest what we want. You really want to get in touch with like what words really resonate as being the accurate description of what you feel if it's negative. And we're not going to stay there. We're not going to like hold ourselves there. We're just identifying it so that we have an accurate place to start. Because like I was saying before, if we don't know authentically where we are on the vibrational scale, we can't move it that easily. If we're authentically here and we want to be here, because this is where our vortex is and where our really positive manifestations are, it's really hard and almost like impossible probably to make that leap all at once. We want to start here and like stair step our way up, but it starts by identifying where are we. And Abraham has this emotional scale that has like maybe 20 or something different emotions listed out on it, but I've also heard them use, and I kind of think about it more this way a lot of times, a more general emotional scale. And the way that this one goes, it only has, I think, maybe 5 steps to it. And so the steps are specific negative, general negative, neutral, general positive, and specific positive. And so that's the vibrational scale that you want to think about. And if you are in the range of feeling a negative emotion, then it's either a specific negative or a more general negative. A lot of times if something's really bothering us, then we are in the more specific negative range. And what that means is that we're focusing really specifically on a certain topic or a certain situation that's really bothering us. And so like for my example with money, like the specific situation was something like, my job has stopped paying me or like I'm not making the money that I want to make and it's stressing me out, something like that. So like that's a specific negative. And so that can be sometimes where we start with this work of identifying our vibration and moving it up that emotional scale. So that's the first step, is recognizing where you are. And so if you're somewhere in specific negative, kind of like I started on my journey, then you want to go for a more general negative statement. A lot of times like that's going to help you shift the vibration. And how do you know if you're shifting the vibration? Basically, you have to tune in and feel what the statements or what the new thoughts that you try out, how they affect your emotion. If they make you feel a little bit better, if they cause you to feel a bit of relief or a bit of comfort or a bit of soothing, then you've shifted to a higher vibration, you've moved up the emotional scale. And so like in my example, if I'm focusing on a specific negative, like my job has stopped paying me, then in some of my practice with this, some of the ones that worked for me, because it was not only that I was feeling frustrated about that situation, but it was like I was also linking that situation to other times that I've had these, like the up and down roller coaster with money, and just feeling kind of defeated and feeling like, this is always my issue. And so like that was also part of the specific negative for me. And so a more general negative that I used to find relief was just like accepting that, yeah, this is my issue. And I'm not alone in this. A lot of people have challenges with money manifesting or with money also, and just kind of in a way like making peace with having this problem, which doesn't sound like a positive thought or a positive thing. It's like not what we're usually taught to do in manifesting, or maybe not what we would think of, but that thought or that just like admitting that, yeah, I have this issue. It is a problem. It's my issue, and just kind of making peace with it. That was what helped me move from a more specific and stronger negative feeling to still a negative feeling, but a more general negative feeling. And so I moved up the emotional scale with that statement. And so then from that place, I was also kind of on the border of more of like a neutral feeling, of just kind of a feeling of like, okay, that's the situation. It just is what it is. And that's kind of a statement that I've been using for not only just in money manifesting, but also other challenging topics where something specific is making me feel I'm having a negative reaction to it. And that's the neutral part of the scale. That's right in the middle, is just like this feeling of like, okay, it is what it is. I feel just kind of neutral about it, versus like maybe where I started, where I was specifically agitated or specifically irritated or upset about the situation. And so With this approach, like if you can even move on the emotional scale from feeling specifically negative, like strong negative emotion of irritation or annoyance or anger or despair or whatever it is, like these lower vibration, like strong negative feelings, to just like a more general sense of like, this is an annoying situation. That's like a more general negative feeling, to then feeling kind of neutral and just kind of like, it is what it is. It's, just like, I have this issue. It just is what it is. That kind of like a more neutral feeling. Sometimes that can be enough, honestly, to cause really good manifestations. If you wanted to move further, if you wanted to go higher on the emotional scale, then you want to go towards the positive range. And again, it's this similar kind of thing where it's like you go for more general positive and then you go for like a more specific positive as you can. A lot of times though, if you start lower on the scale with a specific negative in one session of doing this, you may only get to like neutral, or you may get to general positive. It may be hard to go in one session from, in my example, like imagining or feeling the feelings of like, my job is not paying me, I'm running out of money, those kind of really intense like negative feelings, all the way to like, I see myself as a millionaire, or like I am awesome with money, or like whatever the specific positive thought may be. And so I'm just explaining all this just to say, make it okay to make a smaller, to go up to the neutral range. That can be enough. And in my specific situation, I think I might have gotten to neutral, or maybe just a little bit into the more positive and slightly hopeful range. Like hope is kind of more in the general positive range. Like if you can find a feeling of hope, that's like more slightly positive. You're not all the way up in belief or positive expectation of what you want. You are just more like open to the possibility and more hopeful. And so I got to about that range. And, I've had over the past few weeks or so, since I've really been playing with this process a lot in earnest. Like I've been doing it almost every day on different topics because it's been working so well. Like for this specific money situation, what happened to me was like one of the things that happened was like within a few hours of doing this process to shift my money vibration, I actually found $2,000 that I didn't know that I had like in an account that I was unaware of. And so it was just like instant, easy money that I had not been able to see that I had right in front of me because my vibration had been lower on the scale and I hadn't been admitting it to myself and I hadn't been shifting it. And so that was one of the things that happened. The other thing that happened that same day was that I got a new job opportunity that also looked really good, that I'm excited to start soon. And there were a couple other things that happened too that were related as well, but it was like these fast results that come on the heels of releasing resistance are the things that have me really excited about this new insight and this new dedication that I now have to really letting myself recognize when I'm in a lower vibration and not being afraid of it, or like not kind of resisting being there, knowing that I can shift it, but I have to first let myself feel it and recognize it. And so I hope that insight is helpful for you as well. So there's a lot of things that I do for my mindset and for helping myself to cultivate a more magical life, you could say, to be more in the flow and manifest the outcomes that I desire. And some of my favorite ways of approaching manifesting, or like mindset shifts and tips and tricks and ways of looking at things that I most enjoy, I've included in a free guide called The 7 Habits of Highly Magical People. And there's a link to that guide in the description box below this video, so you can download it if you're interested, and it will also get you on my mailing list where you will be notified whenever I publish new videos, and also with any other offers or special events or other things that I may like to share with you in the future. Thanks so much for joining me for this look at how to raise our vibration by really letting ourselves feel our negative emotions so that we can authentically shift our vibration to a higher place and let in those positive manifestations that are right there in front of us, waiting to reveal themselves. If you liked this video, I definitely recommend checking out this next video, which is all about the most powerful thought for manifestation, which is a soothing thought. And that is very aligned with what we just talked about. So hope you check that one out if you're interested. Thanks again for joining me today. And until next time, happy manifesting.